Hey everybody, it's Robbie from Detroit Driver, and I hope you're staying happy and healthy. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you why I don't think the Ford GT is special. So let's do it. Now don't get me wrong, the Ford GT is an awesome car. The styling's great, it's an attention grabber, and it's probably the coolest Ford, in my opinion, that Ford has ever come out with. But it's just not special. Now what do I mean by that? Of course it's a special car, but in this area, in southeast Detroit, they're literally everywhere. I mean everywhere. At least in a, exotic car spotting context. There has not been one car show since the launch of the Ford GT, at least of significant size, where I have not seen a Ford GT. We have tons of Ford execs, tons of Ford enthusiasts, classic American car enthusiasts in the area, and obviously the Ford GT is their supercar of choice. Now, the Ford GT originally started at $450,000, and now prices have spiked to over $1 million. That's absolutely crazy. Based on the value of the car, roughly around or over $1 million, that would really consider it to be either a super or American hypercar, if you want to put it in those contexts. Now, there were originally 1,000 Ford GTs allocated to be made. However, it was so sought after that they actually decided to make an additional 350. So there's a total of 1,350 Ford GTs being made. Now, in the world of exotic cars, 1,000 is a very, very interesting number. It's kind of the number that separates limited production from less limited production. Anything under 1,000 units, especially when it comes to Ferrari, Porsche, anything like that, you're basically guaranteed higher value, anywhere above 500,000, and with the newer cars, probably even over $1 million. And once you kind of cross that 1,000 threshold, the prices start to become a little less astronomical, especially in the used car market. Now, if I'm going to compare the Ford GT to any other car in previous history, there's two cars that really come to mind. One a little bit better than the other. The car I most similarly see the Ford GT being like is the Ferrari F40. There were 1,315 roughly F40s made for the entire world. That's basically equal to the number of Ford GTs that will be made. Now, the Ferrari F40 is $1 million supercar. The values are still going up. One of the coolest cars of all time. In fact, it's the only car that I can think of with production numbers over 1,000 that are all going for over $1 million. The second car that's kind of similar with the numbers and the pricing would be the Porsche Carrera GT. There were roughly 1,270 Porsche Carrera GTs made, and they're going between anywhere 700, 800, some up to $900,000. But to put that in perspective, I've seen 2 Ferrari F40s in Metro Detroit, and I've seen 2 Carrera GTs. That's nothing compared to the 15 at least new Ford GTs that I've seen. So I hope that kind of provides some perspective of why, at least in this area, the Ford GT might not be as special. We've just kind of become used to it. It's become commonplace. Again, you can go to practically any car event and see a Ford GT. So if you're a huge Ford GT fan, I highly recommend coming to some sort of car show in Metro Detroit. You will not be disappointed. Some additional perspective would be I've seen roughly the same number of Ford GTs as Lamborghini Aventadors, as Lamborghini Huracan Performantes, McLaren 720Ss, Ferrari 458 Speciales, Ferrari 488 Pistas, and the list goes on. So these are some of your more typical exotic cars that I've just seen more Ford GTs than. None of those cars I listed are even worth over $500,000. And we're talking about $1 million Ford GT that I've seen more of. Now, if I were the original 1,000 owners, I might be a little upset with the increased production number, because typically increased production means less scarcity, which means price goes down. But there's a lucky 350 new owners in the world that will still get their chance to own this absolutely amazing car. So again, in the grand scheme of things, yes, the Ford GT is super special, the most special Ford in my opinion that's ever been made. And it's still very limited production compared to the tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of normal production cars that are made, as it should be for its price tag. But when you narrow your scope to the exotic car market, and especially the exotic car market here in Southeast Michigan, we have an obscenely large proportion of Ford GTs compared to the rest of our cars. So I really hope that you kind of gained a perspective and a new appreciation for the Ford GT. It's very special, but they are just a lot of them in this area. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you wouldn't mind, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. This is another new segment of kind of car talk, reviews, tours that I'm going into, so please let me know your thoughts. Stick around for next video. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I have so many ideas that I'm going to share with you, and again, hopefully things will start to open up soon and we can go back out into the real world and capture some better car content. Following this, I'll put a short clip of a beautiful Ford GT. It's my favorite one that I've ever seen. It's Riviera Blue, which by my knowledge is a one-of-one color, so the only one in the world. It would be my dream spec. It has the beautiful blue, the black interior, and the carbon fiber wheels. So stick around and check that out, and make sure to watch my next videos. Thank you very much, and I can't wait to see you next time.
Take care.